Hey guys, welcome back. In my previous sessions, I discussed about the chapter Digestion and Absorption from class 11 biology. The links are provided in the description. You can watch it for the details. Today, I'll be discussing about the topic Respiratory Organs from the chapter Breathing and Exchange of Gases from class 11 biology. Let's start with today's topic. Breathing and exchange of gases. Breathing is a process of moving air into and out of lungs to facilitate gas exchange with the internal environment, mostly bringing in oxygen and releasing out carbon dioxide. I repeat this again. Breathing is a process of moving air into and out of lungs to facilitate gas exchange with the internal environment, mostly bringing in oxygen and releasing out carbon dioxide. During the cellular respiration, organisms utilize oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Cellular respiration occurs with the objective of releasing energy. That energy is utilized by the organism for various activities. The cellular respiration is a catabolic reaction. Catabolism is nothing but breakdown of complex molecules into simpler molecules. O2 has to be continuously provided to the cells for cellular respiration, and CO2 produced by the cells during the cellular respiration have to be released out continuously. This process of exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide is called breathing, commonly known as respiration. Let's now discuss about the respiratory organs used by different organisms. The mechanisms of breathing depend mainly on habitats and levels of organization of organisms. Organisms live in different types of habitats, and also organisms have different levels of organization. The organization levels can be cellular level, tissue level, organ level, or organ system level. So, the mechanism of breathing depends on these two factors: the habitat of the organism and the levels of organization of the organism. If we look here, the organisms like sponges, coelenterate, flatworms, in these organisms, gaseous exchange process occur by simple diffusion. Simple diffusion is nothing but spontaneous movement of gaseous molecules from their higher concentration to lower concentration. So, in these organisms, sponges, cellular level of organization is C. Coelenterates, tissue level of organization. Flatworms, organ level of organization is C. So, in these organisms, simple diffusion is playing important role for gas exchange. Moving to the next, earthworms. Moist cuticle is used for gaseous exchange. This cuticle is a tough but flexible protective covering of the organism. So, in earthworms, moist cuticle is used for gaseous exchange. Moving to the next, in insects, a network of tubes called tracheal tubes are used for gas exchange. So, in insects, tracheal respiration is formed. After this, in aquatic arthropods, mollusks and fishes, gills are used for exchange of gases. Gills are the respiratory structures in these organisms. And if the respiration is through gills, it is called branchial respiration. I repeat it again, important. The respiration through gills is called branchial respiration, and it is found in aquatic arthropods, mollusks and fishes. Moving to the next, amphibians like frogs use moist skin for gas exchange, and respiration through this moist skin is called cutaneous respiration. Important. I repeat this again. Amphibians like frogs use moist skin for exchange of gases, and the respiration through this moist skin is called cutaneous respiration. Moving to the next, terrestrial forms like amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals, they use lungs as their respiratory organs. If lungs are used as respiratory organs, then the mode of respiration is called pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary respiration is through lungs. Here, now, let's discuss about human respiratory system. It begins with external nostrils. These are the openings. These external nostrils lead to nasal chambers. These nasal chambers then lead to pharynx. Pharynx is a common passage for both food and air. Pharynx leads to larynx. Larynx is called voice box. Here you can see in the diagram, this is larynx. And here is one very important concept. A slit or an opening in the larynx is called glottis. And this glottis is covered by cartilaginous flap called epiglottis. This is very, very important for your exams. Epiglottis is a cartilaginous flap which prevents the entry of food into the trachea during swallowing. So, very important. I repeat this again. Epiglottis is a cartilaginous flap that prevents the entry of food into the trachea during swallowing. Now, you can see here, trachea is divided into bronchi. They are further divided. We will discuss about the details. Here, you can see external nostrils. They lead to nasal chambers, which lead to pharynx, and the pharynx leads to larynx, and this is opening into the trachea. Now, let's discuss. Trachea is divided into bronchi. Trachea is a straight tube extending up to the mid-thoracic cavity. I repeat this again. Trachea is a straight tube extending up to the mid-thoracic cavity, which divides at the level of 5th thoracic vertebra into right and left primary bronchi. You can see in the diagram. So, here trachea is divided into bronchi, primary bronchi, left and right primary bronchi. It is divided at the 5th thoracic vertebra. Thoracic vertebrae compose middle segment of vertebral column. In humans, 12 thoracic vertebrae are found, and trachea is dividing into primary bronchi at 5th thoracic vertebra. Moving to the next, each bronchi undergoes repeated divisions to form secondary and tertiary bronchi, which further divide into bronchioles, ending up in very thin terminal bronchioles. You can see here in the diagram, This is primary bronchi. It is dividing into secondary bronchi, then tertiary bronchi, then bronchioles, initial bronchioles and terminal bronchioles. This is how further divisions are found in the bronchi. So, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, and after that bronchioles. So these are the different structures. Now, these tracheae, the tracheae, primary, secondary and tertiary bronchi and initial bronchioles are supported by incomplete cartilaginous rings. Very important concept. Okay, I repeat this again. Tracheae, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi and initial bronchioles. All these are supported by incomplete cartilaginous rings. Very important. They are giving protection. They prevent the collapse of air passage. Very important. After this, each terminal bronchiole gives rise to a number of very thin, irregular, walled and vascularized bag-like structures called alveoli. These alveoli are tiny, hollow, cup-shaped structures. These are hollow, cup-shaped cavities present in the lungs where gas exchange take place. Alveoli can also be called as miniature lungs. After this, the branching network of bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli comprise the lungs. I repeat this again. The branching network of bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli comprise the lungs. We have two lungs which are covered by a double-layered pleura with pleural fluid between them. So pleura, these are the membranes surrounding the lungs. If you look here in the diagram, you can see here pleural membranes, outer and inner pleural membranes. So outer pleural membrane is called parietal pleura and the inner membrane is called visceral pleura. Let's discuss about these in detail. Between these two pleural membranes, pleural fluid is present, and this pleural fluid reduces friction on the lung surface. Very important. Okay, we have two lungs which are covered by double-layered pleura with pleural fluid between them, and this pleural fluid reduces friction on the lung surface. The outer pleural membrane has contact with the thoracic lining. I repeat it again. The outer pleural membrane has contact with the thoracic lining and inner pleural membrane has contact with lung surface. Very important. So there is a pleural fluid between these pleural membranes, and this pleural fluid reduces friction on the lung surface. After this, the part starting with the external nostrils up to the terminal bronchioles constitute conducting part. I repeat this again. The part starting with the external nostrils up to the terminal bronchioles constitute conducting part. And the alveoli and their ducts form the respiratory or exchange part. So these are the two parts in human respiratory system, the conducting part and respiratory or exchange part. The conducting part transports the atmospheric air to the alveoli. It clears, the conducting part clears it clears the air from foreign particles and humidifies and also brings the air to the body temperature. So these are the very important functions performed by the conducting part of the respiratory system. I repeat it again. The conducting part transports the atmospheric air to the alveoli, clears it from foreign particles, humidifies and also brings the air to body temperature. Now, the exchange part is the site of actual diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and atmospheric air. So this is about the respiratory or exchange part of the respiratory system. So the exchange part is the site of actual diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and atmospheric air. After this, the lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber, which is anatomically an airtight chamber. So thoracic chamber is an airtight chamber and the lungs are situated in thoracic chamber. The thoracic chamber is formed by dorsal vertebral column. So backside of our body, dorsal side, vertebral column is present, backbone. Ventral sternum is a breastbone. Sternum is a long flat bone present in the middle part of the chest. And lateral ribs are present and lower side diaphragm is present. Diaphragm is a internal skeletal muscle which separates thoracic cavity from the abdomen. I repeat it again. Diaphragm is an internal skeletal muscle that separates thoracic cavity from abdomen. So we can see here the thoracic chamber is formed by these four structures. Dorsal side, vertebral column. Ventral side, sternum. And laterally, ribs. Lower side, diaphragm. So these are the various structures that are involved in the formation of thoracic chambers: vertebral column, sternum, ribs and diaphragm. Any change in the volume of the thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lung cavity. Very important statement. I repeat it again. Any change in the volume of the thoracic cavity will be reflected in the pulmonary cavity, that is lung cavity. And such an arrangement is essential for breathing, as we cannot directly alter the pulmonary volume. We cannot alter the pulmonary volume. It is an involuntary process. Okay? So, any change in the volume of thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lung cavity. Such an arrangement is essential for breathing, as we cannot directly alter the pulmonary volume. Okay? After this, steps in respiration. Here, the first step is breathing or pulmonary ventilation, by which atmospheric air is drawn in and carbon dioxide rich alveolar air is released out. This is the first step. I repeat this again. Breathing or pulmonary ventilation. In this step, atmospheric air is drawn in and carbon dioxide rich alveolar air is released out. Second step, diffusion of gases across alveolar membrane. Alveolar membrane is a respiratory surface. It is thin, it is vascular, it is having high, that is large surface area, moist surface. These are very important properties of alveolar membrane that help in exchange of gases through it. So the second step is diffusion of gases across alveolar membrane. Alveolar membrane is thin, it is vascular, it has large surface area, it is moist. Moving to the next step, transport of gases by blood. Yes, respiratory pigments are present in blood transport gases to different parts of the body, and also little amount of gases are transported in plasma. Okay, so transport of gases by the blood. Next, diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the blood and tissues. And the last step is utilization of oxygen by the cells for catabolic reactions and resultant release of carbon dioxide. So, catabolism, as we discussed in the beginning, is a reaction in which complex molecules break down into simpler molecules. During the cellular respiration process, complex molecules break down into simpler molecules. Oxygen is utilized, carbon dioxide is released. Energy is also released during the cellular respiration, which is utilized for performing different activities. After this, let's discuss some important questions based on the topics that we have discussed so far. First question, among vertebrates, dash use gills for respiration. Answer is fishes. Okay, among the different vertebrates, fishes use gills for respiration, and the respiration through gills is called branchial respiration. Second question, trachea divides at the level of dash into a right and left primary bronchi. Answer is fifth thoracic vertebra. So, at the position of fifth thoracic vertebra, trachea is dividing into primary bronchi. After this, the next question, during swallowing, glottis can be covered by a thin elastic cartilaginous flap called dash to prevent the entry of food into the larynx. Answer is epiglottis. Epiglottis prevent the entry of food into trachea during swallowing, and epiglottis is a cartilaginous flap-like structure. Next question, the thoracic chamber is formed dorsally by the dash and ventrally by the dash, laterally by the ribs, and on the lower side by the dome-shaped diaphragm. So, dorsally, answer is vertebral column. Ventrally, answer is sternum. Okay, so this is all about today's session. For more videos, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. If you like the video, share it with your friends. I'll be back with another session. Have a great day. Thank you.